Alright, so in this video, we're going to have one last ride on the 11606 Dyna. Let's check it out. What's going on YouTube? FXDLS Brooklyn is back in the building. And if you saw the video, that's right, this bike is currently on the market. Actually, in real time right now, it's set to drop tomorrow. I actually haven't really told anyone that I'm selling this yet, but the video will drop tomorrow and then I'll list it on Instagram tomorrow. And if you've ever sold a bike before that's meant a lot to you, that you've really enjoyed, I'm starting to have the point in that journey where starting to kind of not wanting to sell this thing, kind of not wanting to go through it. Like, listen to this thing. Yeah, I don't want to let this go. Let's be real. I've ridden it a couple times since I've officially started doing a video to put it on the market. And every time I hop on this bike, I'm just saying to myself, what am I doing? Why am I selling this bike? You know, huge, giant engine aside, this bike just handles so well, man. I'm gonna really miss throwing this thing around, especially in Brooklyn, especially in the twisties. You know, again, if you've ever sold a motorcycle that's meant a lot to you, you know, we've had 3 years with this bike. We took this bike from the old man Dyna to the ripper that it is today. So it's been a real journey with this bike, you know, and it's honestly really hard to think about this thing not being in the garage anymore, or me not having access to this thing whenever I just want a completely overkill amount of power. And yeah, I'm definitely at the point where it's like, what am I doing? I'm like ready to like just cancel the video that's gonna drop tomorrow, you know, not go through with posting a listing, and just continue doing what we're doing, which is holding on to the thing. But then I also know, you know, in terms of just being realistic, like I said in the video that drops tomorrow, we got this thing with 5,000 miles. We have about 8,000 miles at this point. So the fact of the matter is, you're putting 3,000 miles on a bike in 3 years. That's kind of unacceptable. You know, at the end of the day, the thing ain't getting ridden. So having the highest performance Dyna in your garage is kind of unnecessary if it's not actually getting ridden. So again, the thing that kind of put the nail in the coffin on that one was the FXR build that we did. Because if I'm not on my lowrider these days, then I'm on my FXR. And then where does that leave this bike? So it's just like an insanely built up performance build that ain't doing what it's supposed to be doing. So yeah, do I want to keep it? Absolutely. Is there demons on my shoulder right now that's just saying, just keep it, just hold on to it, you're gonna miss it, you're gonna miss the power, you're gonna miss the performance, just hold on to it? 100% those demons are on my shoulder right now, really making me thinking if I'm gonna regret this decision of selling this thing. But then you also have the fact angels, or the fact demons on your shoulder wearing their suits, the more responsible demons who are saying things like, it's not getting ridden, it doesn't make sense to have this bike collecting dust in your garage if you're not riding it. Also, this is not something I thought I'd ever say, but honestly, just the amount of power that this bike has, for most of the riding that I do, I'm honestly gonna say, and Peter Guns will agree with me on this because he had a bike with the same engine and he wound up also selling it like what I'm doing now. It's just too much. Like, I could honestly say it is too much power for the riding that I do, which these days, if I'm not doing a cross-country trip, it's a lot of urban riding. Like, I've been doing a lot of urban riding, some suburban slaying, but a lot of urban riding, a lot of suburban slaying. And for this type of riding, dude, you don't need this excessive amount of power. It's just kind of unnecessary. And actually, at the end of the day, for me, in terms of getting into trouble, I've gotten into more trouble on this bike than any other bike that I've been on. And I'm pretty responsible. Yes, I ride fast. Yes, I ride hard. But at the end of the day, I ride responsibly, right? Even with that, just having a overkill, unquenchable amount of power at your fingertips to the point where you think you're doing a normal highway speed and then you look down and you're actually doing triple digits without even knowing it. That's this bike. And yeah, in terms of any close calls I've ever had or any trouble I've ever got myself into, it's 100% been on this bike for most of those cases. Just because it's got the power, man. The power's there. So I'm hoping whoever does buy this bike is someone with a good amount of riding experience that has the maturity to tame a beast like this that just wants to destroy everything, that just wants to do triple digits in every situation. Because again, in the riding that I'm doing, like right now, you just don't need that, right? For that riding and most of the riding I'm doing, the FXR with that little 80 cubic inch engine with the cams is more realistic, you know? Don't get me wrong, is it really fun to be on something that is louder and faster than literally everything else? Absolutely. And that's the part that I think I'm gonna miss, right? To just have the option, like when I do want to be absolutely ridiculous and absolutely overkill, I think I might miss having the option to hop on this bike and just, you know, truly outride my demons. So yeah, this is the last ride I'm doing on this thing. I'm currently bringing it to the place where it's gonna be, where we're gonna have whoever the lucky person is that gets after this thing first come and grab this thing. I'm also a little bit stressed out to list this thing because so many people have already hit me up over the years requesting to buy this, knowing that it was a second bike for me. I'm kind of nervous to list this thing and have a email box and a DM box completely filled up with a million requests and having to field all that. Because again, I know that this is a hot bike. Multiple people have hit me up to buy this thing without it even being on the market. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna miss right there. That's what I'm gonna miss. And everything else that comes along with it. Like this, the braking is amazing. We did the dual disc conversion in the front. That's something that's something I knew I wanted to do. And the clutch, man. Like I said, look, one finger, easy pull clutch. You know, it's like, that's something I'm really thinking about throwing down the money to have installed on my other bikes. Because again, especially just for the city riding, man, does it enhance your ride to have a super smooth and easy clutch. You know, I'm used to really hard clutches. Like the clutch on the 88 FXR is a really hard clutch. The clutch on my lowrider S is actually a pretty hard clutch, you know, comparatively to newer models. So again, for this type of riding, when you're doing stop and go, when you're doing tactical maneuvering, you're doing clutch work, I'm gonna miss having that clutch. But yeah, the journey with this bike has been amazing. I'm gonna cherish every last mile that I get with it right now. I hope I don't regret this decision too much because this bike absolutely rips, and I find it kind of hard to believe that I'm ever going to find myself on a bike that rips this hard and this fast ever again in my life. You don't really see, you know, too many builds like this. You know, you see a lot of, like, you see engines, right? But you see a lot of factory engines. You know, a lot of Screaming Eagle, a lot of factory engines, and an S&S performance engine compared to a factory engine, it's like comparing a house cat to a lion. There's really no comparison. But that's it. I'm gonna shut the cameras down and really just enjoy my last couple miles with this bike before I never get to throw a leg over this thing again. I hope you've enjoyed all the videos I've done with this bike and all the miles I've done with this bike. I've had such a good time with this thing, both building it up and actually just ripping on it. I'm looking forward to seeing the new home that it goes to and the type of miles that gets put on it, you know? As always, stay safe, stay low, cherish the moments with cherished bikes, and on that, FXCLS Brooklyn is out.